Welcome to the Green It Up Club. I'm Michael, and since it's almost summertime, it's time to talk about the best swimsuit to wear at the beach. Wait, no. It's time to talk about vitamin D. So you might be asking the question, why vitamin D? What does that have to do with summertime? Good question. Thank you for asking that. Well, let's find out what vitamin D actually is. Calcitriol, the activated form of vitamin D, is the most potent steroid hormone in your body. Vitamin D influences 3,000 of your 24,000 genes. And vitamin D receptors are found throughout your body. It induces cell differentiation and controls cell proliferation. And there are over 830 peer-reviewed scientific studies proving its effectiveness. So vitamin D is a super awesome vitamin. But let's find out what it actually does in your body. It helps produce serotonin in the brain. Vitamin D receptors increase nerve growth in your brain. The combination of vitamin D, tryptophan, and omega-3 fats can naturally elevate concentration of brain serotonin without side effects. Normalizing your vitamin D levels will reduce your risk of cancer by over 50%. So vitamin D is amazing for you, but it also does so many other things in your body than I listed here. So what happens when you don't get enough vitamin D? Great question. Thank you for asking that. Vitamin D deficiency is directly linked to increased risk of heart disease and cancer. It's linked to 124% greater risk of dying from all causes. You have a 25% higher risk of dying from heart disease or stroke. And arterial stiffness is associated with vitamin D deficiency. And that's from the American Journal of Cardiology. Oh, but vitamin D deficiency doesn't stop there. It's also linked to digestive disorders, skeletal disorders, depression, mental disorders, neurodevelopmental disorders, brain dysfunction, dementia, Alzheimer's, chronic infections, cardiovascular disease, all types of cancer, autoimmune diseases, and premature aging. So you're gonna age faster, you're gonna die of some weird disease, and it's all because you're lacking this very important vitamin. So what's the best way to optimize your vitamin D levels? And why did I bring this up with summertime approaching? Because you get it from the sun. You actually get vitamin D through UVB exposure from the sun. And you need at least 20 minutes of sun exposure daily during the midday to get vitamin D production. And a good rule of thumb to follow is your shadow shouldn't be longer than the height of your body. So you might be saying, but Mike, I don't live in a sunny place or it's wintertime. I'm glad you mentioned that because most regions of the planet don't get proper sunlight for 6 months out of the year, sometimes more. And vitamin D3 supplementation during the winter is essential in these situations. The average adult requires about 8,000 international units per day. Now, supplementing with vitamin D is essential in certain circumstances, but a lot of doctors are actually recommending vitamin D2. Vitamin D2 is less effective than vitamin D3, according to a huge meta-analysis of 50 trials, and that's from the Cochrane database. And it turns out that you actually get vitamin D2 through plant-based food. So food sources of vitamin D3 include fish, egg yolk, and raw milk. So instead of going out to the store and buying a supplement or wasting money on a worthless supplement like a vitamin D2 supplement, why don't you just incorporate these foods into your daily diet and you'll be just fine in those winter months. Now it is important to note that vitamin K2 is essential for proper utilization of vitamin D. You can get vitamin K2 through grass-fed organic animal products like eggs, butter, and dairy, fermented foods, and certain cheeses like brie or Gouda. If you're still unsure whether you should be concerned about vitamin D, there is a ton of research out there about it. Here's a quote from this study. Results from this meta-analysis suggested that vitamin D deficiency and insufficiency might increase the risk of childhood asthma. Now that's really important to me because I actually had asthma as a kid. So was that a problem with my body, or could I have just been vitamin D deficient? How many people have asthma? How many adults have asthma now? Vitamin D is also super important for the immune system. Vitamin D deficiency was higher among children with asthma, allergic rhinitis, atopic dermatitis, acute urticaria, and food allergies. And how does vitamin D do all these things? Vitamin D may protect against wheezing illness through its role in upregulating antimicrobial proteins or through its multiple immune effects. So vitamin D affects the immune system in so many different ways. So could all of these diseases and all these conditions be the result of vitamin D deficiency? Yes, absolutely. And vitamin D is great for your skin. Subjects with atopic eczema, acne vulgaris, seborrheic dermatitis, and rosacea improve following sunlight exposure. So it's not just vitamin D, it's sunlight exposure as well. So we get vitamin D through that UVB exposure from the sun. And we're going to go into that in detail in future videos. Vitamin D plays an important role in the immune system, and its deficiency has been implicated in various skin diseases, including atopic dermatitis and psoriasis. Vitamin D deficiency was more frequent in patients with acne, and serum vitamin D levels were inversely correlated with acne severity, especially in patients with inflammatory lesions. So what does all that stuff mean? That means that vitamin D is super important for your skin health and your immune system function. And everything is tied into your vitamin D levels. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Vitamin D deficiency is associated with autoimmune disorders. Vitamin D exerts important regulatory functions on cells from the innate as well as from the adaptive immune response. Indeed, accumulating evidence has shown that insufficient vitamin D levels may lead to dysregulation of immune responses and thus contribute to autoimmune diseases. Amazing. So if you have an autoimmune disease, could that be the result of a vitamin D deficiency? Maybe. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. I mentioned cancer earlier. This review consistently found strong inverse correlations with solar UVB from 15 different types of cancer, including bladder, breast, cervical, colon, endometrial, esophageal, gastric, lung, ovarian, pancreatic, rectal, renal, and vulvar cancer, and Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. So sunlight and the vitamin D that it produces can prevent 15 different types of cancer, and I think even more than that. That was just in this study. Now, did you know that? Did your doctor tell you that when he told you to go outside and put that sunscreen on your skin? Did he tell you that putting that sunscreen on there will block that UVB light from hitting your skin and you won't produce vitamin D? Yeah, you might get a nice tan, but you're not going to be getting that vitamin D in there. So consider all this, that vitamin D is so important for you. You need to get out in the sun, just 20 minutes at around solar noon. Your shadow shouldn't be longer than the height of your body. That's a great rule of thumb to follow. At this point, you might be saying, Mike, this is great and all, but doesn't sunlight cause skin cancer? Great question, I'm glad you asked that. Increased UVA exposure, indoor light, and decreased cutaneous vitamin D3 levels may be responsible for the increasing incidence of melanoma. Melanoma is the deadly, the scary form of skin cancer. And this study is saying that indoor light, too much indoor light, and decreased levels of vitamin D3 are correlated with melanoma. And I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in some future videos, so stay tuned for that. So light, real sunlight, is great for you because it helps your body produce vitamin D, and it does a whole lot of other stuff that we'll get into in future videos. But too much sun, especially for fair-skinned people, can be damaging to your skin, more so than even sunburns. So you do want to protect yourself in certain situations. So in another video, Carolina is actually going to show you how to make your own sunscreen, because you don't want to be using all that toxic crap out there. It's going to get absorbed into your bloodstream, and all those toxins are so bad for you. So what do we do at the Green It Up Club? We green that stuff up, and boom, here you got your own do-it-yourself sunscreen. If you want to find out what's in this sunscreen, you can check out the article on it on the Green It Up Club website. Links will be down below in the description. Ooh, that looks nice. Is it awesome? Is it awesome for my skin? There we go. A little bit there. A little bit there. Oh yeah, ready to go surfing now. Ooh, it's so creamy. How's that look? Ready to go to the beach and get my tan on. I mean, get my vitamin D from the sunlight, because that's what we're talking about in this video. Yep.